something that ends up coming up like right before I start. Between I am. All right, hello. Give me just one moment. Oh, excuse me. Hey guys, how you doing? Yeah, once again, sorry for a delayed start. Yeah, I was trying to get my new microphone that I got set, but for some reason it wasn't picking it up through the system I was using. So I figured I'd go and use the older one I already have. So give me just a few moments and we'll get started in just a minute. All right, guys. So glad to have you guys back again for another weekend. I know I got two suggestions from one of y'all for my last poll on what y'all wanted to see me do for today. Depending on how things go, I might be able to do two, but I probably won't only have time to really do one. And in fact, what I went ahead and did, I actually went and did a kind of a preliminary sketch for one of them I got. One, I think I had one verse suggested I do a kind of a laughing Buddha. So I decided to kind of do a version where it's a little more contemporary. It's more of a hippie Buddha. And I meant to do one for a second one too, but I might get that once I'm done with this. If I have some time. Hopefully I will, because I do have other things I have to take care of later on today. But in the meantime, let's get started on this one. So give me just one moment, let me get my pencils, and we'll get started. Hey Shay, how you doing? Glad you dropped in for the stream. Give me just one moment. Hang on. Yeah, I hope you've been doing well. For those of you that are kind of just dropping in, there's at least two drawings I'm planning on doing today. I may only have time just to do one, depending how much time I got left. But we'll have to see how the whole thing kind of plays out. So I think I will get started. what happened to my... I was trying to find the pencil sharpener that I had with me, the electric one that I had, but I can't seem to locate it at the moment. But you know what? That's totally fine. I have a regular one I can always use. So I hope you guys are having a great week so far. Mine's been doing pretty well. It's went by quick too, cause you know because on top of being busy with work, I'd also recently got back from vacation. I went out to two places. Initially went to Orlando, but also I went out to Jacksonville as well to kind of visit family. So that was a really fun time. So I think what I will go ahead and do is that I'll start with kind of a light yellow, like since the golden blue, I think I'll have a kind of color, almost maybe like a golden like spray paint. I figured that'd be a nice way to kind of start off, off a layer. Do for his hands as well. Maybe it's not covered entirely on his body. Maybe it's got a little bit that's uncovered. So I'll keep on that right ear. Make sure I have a hard line just for future reference. Maybe I'll do like a red band, for his little tunic. So like kind of his glasses. Maybe he's wearing like these like mood like groovy glasses. I was gonna lightly kind of color in his robe. I think I'll have this robe maybe be like a tie-dye robe, just to add to some of that grooviness. But yeah, it's been a pretty long but kind of eventful week, the past couple of days. So the trip I did down to Florida, it was the first. Well, it wasn't my first time I've traveled by myself. Like last time I went, I did a trip to kind of visit, family. But this was the first time where I kind of planned like my own like vacation, cause when I was down in Florida, in Orlando, I went to this special thing they had going on called Punk at the Park. So it was this day long festival they had over in at the Central Fairgrounds. So the Central Fairgrounds, for those who don't know, it's kind of like one big park that's like right near downtown Orlando. And so what they did is, like they have this festival where they had like quite a number of like really like notable like punk acts. At least one of the punk acts So like they had a lot of like more like look like Against All Authority, the Casualties. That's another one. But they also had a lot of like bigger names of punk music such as Black Flag, the Dead Kennedys. Who else? TSOL, they were there too. They had some other ones, the Vandals. And it was a really good time. I got a chance to meet a lot of cool folks. Got a chance to talk to a lot of people. Tried some new food, some new drinks. Hey, Isaac, glad you dropped in. I ended up kind of like listening to your suggestion for the day as far as doing one of a Laffy Buddha. But I decided to go for more of kind of one of a hippie aesthetic. I am thinking probably, if I happen to finish up one early, I think I will do the kitten one later on if I have time. But for here, I decided to take one of your suggestions, kind of go a slightly different route with it. So some of you can see I'm kind of laying down like just some really light colors before I keep going further before adding more colors. I think I'll color his eyes while we're at it. And the show really good. It was all day. It did get pretty hot though, because I know it's for one it's Florida, so I think it was like 91 degrees. But as someone who's been to Florida for several times in his life, I'm used to it. Thankfully, like since there was also a chance it was going to rain, like we got a little bit of cloud cover. I think there was one time I think it almost rained because let me think. Yeah, because I think at one point it got real cloudy, it started sprinkling, and it started sprinkling. I had my little poncho with me, so I went and took that out. I had actually went ahead and I put it on, but it's funny, like soon as I was getting ready to put it on, like then it stopped. And it pretty much stayed like that for the rest of the day, where it was just cloudy, occasionally got hot, basically got humid. Because even if it's not, a lot of times in Florida, even if it's not really raining, it does get pretty humid. So I think what I will do, I'll do the shade from this side. Add some shouts here. As always, guys, whenever you do shade, then make sure you do establish where your light source is going to be. Is it going to come from the left? Is it coming from the right? Is it coming from the top? Is it coming from the bottom? Okay, so I said, oh, thank you. Egg Pomfret, it's nice to meet you. Yeah, when it comes to rock music, I really dig all, that punk stuff. So, and I also, it was cool because, like, a lot of these bands, it was my first, pretty much almost all the bands that were there, it was my first time, like, seeing any of them. And, like, the ones I really wanted to go see, there was at least 4, because I definitely wanted to see Black Flag, definitely wanted to see TSOL, I definitely wanted to see the Casualties one. I was surprised that I didn't know they were going to be there. Definitely wanted to see Against All Authority. And also, even though it was a lot of people there, I think at most, I want to say there was at least 5,000 people there. Because even though it was big, it wasn't like a huge event. It was as big as, say, something like, say, Vans Warped Tour, where they have, like, over tens of thousands of people there. And also the vibe was really chill, too, because, on top of being, because while it was kind of like a punk show, it was also a very family event. So, you had some folks that ended up bringing their kids. Some kids were singing along, some kids were even in the mosh pits. To my knowledge, the Latin Buddha is a Buddhist, just not the real Buddha. I think they're mistaken for Buddha because his name is Booty. Yeah, that is true. Like, I feel truly over here, people tend to kind of use Buddhism and Buddha kind of use it interchangeably. I think you're right. Like, he is Like he is an actual Buddha. Like he's not the real Buddha. But it is kind of like how certain like interpretations will end up kind of being like changed and actually mixed together like over time. And what also happened, while I was there, also while I was down there, you know what? Of course, I checked an hotel down there. Of course, then I drove to Jacksonville, visit my family over there, and got a chance to visit, my older sister, the sister got to see their family. So yeah, it had been a pretty eventful weekend. Plus, that was kind of the first time I ever traveled. I ever traveled somewhere like outside of town to go to a certain event. Because usually I'm so used to actually doing a lot of like a lot of stuff like here, like in town. Because we usually have a lot of stuff going on here in Georgia anyway. But that was the first time hearing about something going on in town, so I figured like, okay, that's something I definitely got to do. And luckily, driving down there wasn't too bad. I think from here, where I am to Orlando, it was like probably about a 6-hour drive. Yeah, because I think with the actual... Give me just one moment. Joins another Australian Downlands. I have seen something. I'm aware. I actually have seen some of your other new stuff, Shay. It's looking really good. I also think it's pretty cool to use a lot of work, with the color outlines. In fact, that's something I need to start experimenting for myself. Is like doing stuff, with color outlines. I just regular black outlines. Just something to just kind of add a little more dimension. Yeah, because every now and then, I do want to try to experiment, with different mediums. In fact, I still got a whole bunch of, art materials, sitting in my dress that I haven't used yet. I always keep trying to make a mental note, and, actually I bring it out, when it's time. Trying to think, so how do I want to do this couch? I think I have this couch where we say I'll have to be a grass green, since it's a very chill and tranquil dude. I do want to try to use quite a bit of greens here, just kind of get that tranquil vibe going here. But yeah, when it comes to concerts, I've always been big on going to rock concerts, especially on rock concerts. They're always the ones I always have the most fun at are really punk rock shows, especially ska punk shows. For those who know, ska punk kind of mix like punk rock with with ska and reggae. I really love those. For some reason, those shows, not only are they a lot of fun, they always seem to bring out a lot of different people. Because in fact, I've seen a lot of them. I know Real Big Fish, Less Than Jake. That was one of the first I ever saw. Then there was I'm trying to think what was another one I can think of. Streetlight Manifesto. They were really good. Streetlight Manifesto. What else? Let me see what else. Fish. One of the old school ones, Fishbone. I've seen them at least twice. And Fishbone, they're kind of the OG ones, at least for ones over here in America, because when it comes to ska, there's 3 periods. Yeah, I remember saying that one from Thailand was praying to Last for 2 years with actual Buddha. Oh my god, really? Oh wow. Let me look that up. Because I figure, if it's the Shrek, but wouldn't you know just from the ears? That would have gave it away. Oh my god. I'm sorry. I just had to go look it up as soon as you mentioned that. I'm looking at it right now, it's dressed like the whole Buddha, but it obviously looks like Shrek, but it's got the ears too. How can someone understand not know? Praise Shrek. I can understand not being too knowledgeable, about Buddhism and the whole gist, but like, I figure you have to at least somewhat. But I figure like, Shrek is one of those things like I think most people know about since such a meme, in internet culture, meme culture. I'm sorry, that's funny though. At least when it looks like, at least she did end up learning, eventually. That is funny. Swamp of enlightenment. I don't know. Speaking of Shrek, I think there's like that new like fifth movie in the works, which I'm surprised. This movie reminds me of Shrek. Yeah, it's probably just the size. Probably just the size. Probably the fact that I kind of made like couch potatoes. This beanbag-ish couch. I have a swampish green. That's probably what ends up kind of reminding all of it. It's almost like suggestive imagery. I put in green, you'll immediately think of Shrek, and pretty much Shrek encapsulates green stuff. I remember watching a video not too long ago. Remember that kind of talk about Shrek merchandise, and it reminded me because I got all these flashbacks how back when like Shrek was like popular like at an all-time high. Yeah, I'm just kind of putting in the highlights in that. Not highlights, outlets in now. There were so many like different like merchandise on Shrek. It also got to an absurd degree. Like Shrek used being advertised on onions. There was like Shrek flavored like condiments. I remember there was Shrek flavored like ketchup. Like I think I remember having that ketchup at one point too. It was not that good. And although I didn't own the cups, I remember seeing the cups. And of course, I think there was a few that I had to recall. I think I had to recall the one with Puss in Boots. Because his orange cup, they used a lot of cadmium. And for those that don't know, cadmium is very poisonous. So they had to recall those. I think there was like those Shrek favorite smoothies. Like, that's the thing, like, it's so funny to think like how like once that it got so popular, it was everywhere. But that just kind of shows, the power of Shrek, how memeable and how popular he was. In a way, it still is. I mean, the Shrek probably still is popular, considering that even now, like recently had that new Puss in Boots like movie came out. That was a huge hit. And now, apparently, we got Shrek 5 that's on the way, and who knows how that's going to turn out. And I'm not surprised they're making a fifth one, to be honest. Because while I've heard, like the last one that came out was pretty decent, I didn't think it was decent to kind of make, like, another sequel. Because I heard it was for the last one, it was definitely better than, like, the third one. I think when it comes to the Shrek films, I think, like, first one's good. I think definitely the second one's the best. At least in my opinion, I think the second one's the best. Because it's at least for me, I think it's one of those sequels like where it's definitely better than the first. Because that's one of those rare things like where you have a sequel, that's better than the first one. The only one I can think of, from personal ones that I've seen that is better is probably maybe Top Gun. And Canon, it's been years I think since I've probably seen Top Gun. And granted, I'll be honest, I've seen it in parts. And I think what makes, like a sequel that's better than the first work is that it amazes me at the talent page to sculpt shield stacked on the side of mountains, have else and time against you, but the ocean's too powerful that you keep going. Yeah, that's very true, because like when it comes to like those old like statues and those old monuments, those things take years to do. And usually I think they'll do like whether it's either marble like limestone. Those things take years, but you're right. That devotion are kind of like that devotion to that belief that keeps you going. Like that's a really kind of a powerful thing. Because honestly, for me, like I don't know if I could ever see myself doing, but even then, like I've never really sculpted anything. To me, like I feel like if I had to probably sculpt one of those large ones you see over like in top, you saw it over in East Asia. if I were ever to try to do something on that scale, I'd probably end up giving up probably like a year. Like, who am I kidding? I'd probably give up probably like maybe 3 months in if I ever tried something on that scale. So the fact that some folks like they just can work on those like for years and years. But I like you say, I figure it's that devotion. I figure, if it's just devotion alone and just that belief what keeps you going, then you're probably not really concerned about the time the time spent working on it. It doesn't really become that much of a concern anymore. I think I'll use some of this brown for the folds. I guess part of it is, I guess some people probably use like the laughing Buddha and the astral Buddha. I guess people tend to use it interchangeably because if I recall, the belief of Buddha, it's all about like not just habits, but like living life simple, like needing not to want. And I guess since that image kind of encapsulates, a lot of like a lot of those teachings and those philosophies. That's why people tend to use it pretty interchangeably. He's kind of shaving, his little tunic. I think I'll have one of these, have one of his necklaces be actual beads. And you're right, because some of those statues, at least from what I've heard, like those things are massive too. Because on top of having the patience to kind of like sculpt those things, and then there's concern, like, well, if you accidentally chip something off, is it a small piece or is it a big piece? Because one, if it ends up chipping off first, there's this idea of like, well, one, can you reattach it? And also you're hoping that when it falls off, like, that's not big enough so it could fall on you. Yeah, let me see what else. Let me see if we can kind of get a couple of these folds in. Yeah, for most of that week when I did that trip, I was kind of busy, kind of getting a lot of stuff together for that trip. So that's why I ended up not really doing that stream last week. And also, something on a related note, guys, I really do appreciate you guys actually kind of like watching the new like sketchbook stream that I did. Not the stream that new sketchbook video that I did. Yeah, I am planning on doing more. On doing more like sketchbook tours like that in the near future. So I do. So we'll be on the lookout for that. And also speaking of sketches, I did end up actually drawing some sketches based on like the punk festival I went to. In fact, I could probably. I think I will go and briefly show it to you right now as kind of a brief detour, even though we are still kind of like working on this. And the thing is, they're all loosely based on things that I did, on people that I saw while I was there. Like, for example, here we go. So, like, here's some of the stuff I did. So that was the name of the event called Punk at the Park. So these are based on people I saw. So I had some people wearing, some were shirtless because it was so hot. But you had some people, they were wearing, like, band name shirts. This is one for the Dead Kennedys. Of course, a few people kind of dressed in jackets, lightweight jackets, because, it was pretty hot outside. There was one guy that was at the shirt, there was an actual shirt that they actually had called I May Be Old, but I got to see, like, all the cool bands. And another one, here's some more in the back. One I did doing the classic like circle jerk skank pose. There was some other guys I saw. One guy spiking a mohawk. And also one guy, this is what I was saying, there were even some kids up there. I think one guy even had his carrying his kid on the back while going through the pit. What was funny to leave another guy, I know one of the very first acts that I saw, it was the very first one I saw when they started throwing off. One pit that broke out, and it was basically a turkey pit, because there was one guy who was actually eating like a turkey leg. He pretty much got the whole thing started. Of course, a logo for TSOL. One of their hits, Code Blue. And I did a little fan. I ended up drawing Scruffy from Futurama. I ended up drawing him with a little mohawk that he had in that one episode. So yeah, in fact, I actually did bring with me bring like a small like not sketchbook, but just some sketch paper to kind of work on while I was there, and a few pencils. I didn't bring that much because, of course, I was gonna be listening up with music rather than actually drawing. So a few stuff I did end up drawing, like it was like really small like doodles that I decided to actually like keep right for later reference. Just kind of shade the side of his legs here. Yeah, normally like stuff like showing the sketches, I normally tend to save that to the end. But I figure, like since I've been kind of talking about it for a while, I think I might as well kind of like bring it up. Bring it up now. Let me see. Let me check on something. And apparently, because one thing I'm doing right now as I'm drawing is I'm just kind of looking up like different I was looking at different statue poses as a reference. Apparently, like there's different types of like Buddha statue with different meanings. Because apparently there's 9 different ones. 9 different ones. Because apparently there's a protection Buddha, there's the teaching Buddha, there's the Dharma Chakra Buddha. That's the one for spiritual path. The medicine Buddha, the meditation Buddha, the Bush Parasha Mudra, probably the earth touching Buddha to be short, the laughing Buddha. So yeah, that's the Buddha. Then there's also the calm Buddha, the Nirvana. Ooh, I didn't know about this. So I'm sorry, I'm looking at this site. It says Nirvana Buddha. And this one's interesting because I think I'm looking at this one where they're kind of laying on their side rather than kind of sitting up. I'm sorry, my favorite scary looking star movie. I think I have seen that one too. And if I was funny, I had no idea there was so many different variations. Yeah, I'm sorry this string's a little more chaotic than usual. It's funny, like first I'm talking about punk rock, now I'm talking about Buddha. It's kind of going all over the place. And on top of it, I'm looking up other stuff too to kind of add to the conversation. Hey, but you know what? That happens. Let me just kind of add some darker shadows here. Give me just one more. Let me check on something. Okay. Let me just kind of use some of these for these midtones. And so for this version, I kind of want to go for a more rather than kind of do a traditional like laughing, but I kind of want to go something that's a little more groovy, a little more contemporary. just kind of change things up and do something a little bit different. That's how I am. A lot of times, if I want to draw something, want to try to take something in kind of a different route. See how it plays out. He escaped because he sat in a Bodhi tree to achieve enlightenment and didn't eat. Oh, that's interesting. He's a Buddha with animal heads, be they a Chinese zodiac. Oh, now that I didn't know. Oh, that's interesting. See, now y'all taking me on a rabbit hole I didn't even know existed until just now. But what's funny, now that you mentioned there's one with animals, now all of a sudden it's a lot more. It's not so far fetched that a woman could come across one of Shrek and think that's one of the real ones. Now that you mentioned that. Let me check on something. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just look. Yeah, while I'm kind of working, I'm just kind of looking at so many different statues. Like it's the weird. I didn't know there were so many like different kinds. It's almost kind of overwhelming because there's even like I'm like, thank you. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, it's like a different change of. Yeah, I know it's like a different change of pace. I appreciate the suggestion though. Yeah, because I do like because every now and then when I do these streams in my draw, I do want when I try to say that it was great conversational piece, or at very least ones like where it's easy for us to kind of really kind of like just draw along, kind of ramble. We kind of get his little hands. And part of the reason I kind of decided to kind of go over kind of a hippie on Buddha is that one thing I do know about what at least Buddhism over here in the States is that I think it was really popular among the hippies. They really got into that, and really apparently that whole hippie movement, it really kind of like pop. They really kind of helped make like more Eastern religion, more Eastern beliefs more popular over here. So they kind of like co-opted and it became a thing here. Yeah, let me see. And forgive me if I end up getting a little chatty later on, because now I'm kind of in the zone now, because now I'm really liking how well this thing is turning out. And usually when I'm not, once I really like something, I can get a lot more focused and not as chatty. So if there's a little less play, of course I'm not gonna stop talking entirely, but it is something to let you know for those that are new, just coming. It does tend to happen. Just kind of add a little more shadow, maybe that darker shadow here, for that little that golden sheen. Hey Shay, I'm glad you like this too. I'm really glad y'all love it. Yeah, 'cause I figure, something that's gonna be different, something that's neat. Each party has their own flavor of Buddhism, much like Islam, tradition, Judaism. Yeah, that's what I've heard too. Like it does vary on on different regions depending where you go. Because I know the ones that I'm used to seeing a lot, like the ones I've seen a lot, are usually like the ones that you see more in India. There's ones in India. Those are the ones I'm usually the most familiar with. But I know there's so many out there, to my surprise. Let me just kind of use this mid-tone to kind of fix on these outlines here. Yeah, let's kind of like deepen some of these shadows, deepen some of these folds. There's one in Thailand, Laos. I've heard there is one in Thailand. Didn't know there was one in Laos. I know I'm probably butchering the pronunciation. Is it Laos, 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 Laos? I'll have to look that up later on. And just kind of deepen some of these shadows. Part of the reason I want to go really deep with these shadows is I want to have him portrayed like he's got like a bunch of gold paint on, and he's shiny gold. And usually, if you're ever doing, and usually future reference, if you ever want to actually have indicate shiny surfaces, have your shadows be very bold, but also very sharp too. Let me erase some of that. There we go. And one thing I will do, yeah, they really can. I think some of the ones, at least I've seen, at least from the pictures I've seen, they're almost like they're almost like 30 feet tall. I'm pretty sure there's probably some like bigger than that. Yeah, those things can get really, really huge. And even like statue, like I'm pretty sure there's probably some folks out there that still do it. But I think nowadays, but you don't really see like at least large statues on this scale like anymore. But like you mentioned, like you gotta have some serious patience and serious devotion to actually commit to a project of that magnitude. You have a serious amount of patience, an amount of time, a good amount of resources too. Let me look at something real quick. Yeah, 'cause apparently there's Yeah, as I'm looking at all these different pictures, I know there's a seated one. That's the one that everyone's submitted. There's seated Buddha. I've seen a few standing Buddhas. I've seen a few of those. There's a walking Buddha, which is new. That's my first time. I didn't know they had walking Buddhas. There's a reclining Buddha, like the Nirvana one. At least the ones I've seen, those are the ones that they're kind of reclining. Yeah, I'm sorry. While I'm drawing, I'm just looking at so many other different Buddha, Buddha statues, just these different kinds. And I just didn't realize there are so many. Good lord, and they're beautiful too. He's kind of deep in these shadows here around these legs. You kind of shade around his little tunic. Oh, if I do have time, I will be able to try and move on. I will be able to do the other drawing idea that Shay suggested. If not, one thing I probably will do, and I will keep you guys posted on it. I might do a second stream tomorrow morning of the second idea that Shay suggested, and basically I'll give you a, yeah, I think later on I will give a post I end up doing or not, because I will have a few things I got planned like later on today. It's not much really. I have to be taking care of like errands. I know me and a couple and a couple of our family members, expect them to use some yellow, kind of blend some of this out. We'll be doing like a special event. We'll special kind of do like a special event. We're all kind of going out to dinner. But it's also kind of one like a special theme going on too. We're gonna be doing a lot. I think our theme is they have to kind of dress back in '70s attire. So I'm actually in charge of actually providing them some of the music. So as someone who also listens to a lot of like '70s funk music, of course I was able to provide like probably a good like list of like '70s like funk, like disco stuff. I understand weird. That's probably kind of a weird trajectory as far as musical taste. Me and the guy who happens like punk rock who also loves like disco, funk and disco stuff too. I'll be honest, I prefer like more like funk stuff than disco. And funny, this won't be the first time I had to kind of provide music for like a '70s theme event. I know another time, I was asking one of my relatives to kind of provide music for a high school reunion, and this was for I think it was for my parents' high school reunion. I think high school from like class of '75, '74, I think is what it was. So of course, I went and kind of got included like a nice playlist. I even got a laptop together. I even got a good nice big speaker. Wasn't too big, but like just big enough for the crowd we were having. And I was able to kind of like play like old school '70s stuff, not stuff that I liked, but stuff that I knew the people coming in would like too. So of course, Live Earth, Wind and Fire, Commodores, like stuff. But also like since my parents, since they grew up like listening to that stuff, and they really got, and they always played that stuff all the time when I was growing up. So I think by proxy, I'm always gonna end up having a good like love and fondness for them. So maybe that's probably part of the reason. So maybe that's part of the reason I ended up kind of going with the kind of the whole hippie Buddha thing, because I had that whole '70s like '60s stuff on the mind. Give me just one moment. Some of this, use some of this gold to kind of smooth out some of this golden skin. I think what we'll do, let me start smoothing out some of these darker shadows here. A lot of times what I'll do is like once I know I got a good once I've mapped out my shadows, I know how I want them to look, then I'll start going in hard as far as actually like blending them in. Because I know I've said before in a lot of my other streams, like you always want to try start pretty light and soft when you're starting out with doing your shadows, especially if you know the shadows they're going to be pretty deep, like are going to be pretty hard and deep later on. Let me get around his old belly here too. Yeah, see, I'm just kind of using like these mid-tones to really kind of like iron out and just kind of deepen these shadows, blend them together. his little hands. Nice. And I just realized October it's gonna be around the corner pretty soon. So of course, like the top of being busy at work, I'm also trying to get stuff ready for Inktober because that's gonna be like pretty soon. For those who kind of watch me, y'all know I pretty much do like Inktober just about every single year. And I'm planning to do this year to be no exception. And even though I've said this before, I'm expecting this year to kind of be a pretty challenging one too, because got a lot of stuff planned like planned for this upcoming month that might need my time because I know I got at least one concert I'm gonna go to on one day. I know later on, I think later on the month, I'm planning on going out of town again. I'm planning on going out of town. Head down to Jacksonville to visit family. My oldest sister, like new baby boy, he's planning on getting baptized. So pretty much most of our family, we're all coming down there for that. And also on top of that, I think about a few days after I'm done with that, there's another trip I'm planning on doing up in Chattanooga. Chattanooga, they're having their own like Comic Con, their own like small version of Comic Con. I think on the 26th or 27th, that's where it's gonna be. And I looked it up. They're gonna have a lot of folks there too. In fact, some of my favorite voice actors are gonna be there too. Rob Paulson, Jeff Bennett, he's supposed to be there too. I think Greg Coleman, probably getting the names mixed up. He's gonna be there as well. A lot of voice actors I really like am huge fans of. They're gonna be there on that convention. So I'm definitely like looking forward to that. Cause I recently did go to the Comic Con Dragon Con we have here in Atlanta. It was my first time going. I really did enjoy it. It was definitely a lot bigger than I intended. Because for those who don't know, the Dragon Con we have here in Atlanta, it's really huge. And instead of like say something like MomoCon where they have up the Georgia World Congress Center, it's spread out at least about 5 hotels downtown. So it's spread on the Hyatt Regency, the Marriott. There's a few other hotels I can't remember at the moment where they have it there. But the thing about it is like all those hotels that I mentioned, they're all kind of like close together, all kind of interconnected. So folks can easily kind of like walk in between those hotels and go to different events that are going on, at that time. And the thing is, for me, I ended up going on like that Monday. So even though it was still pretty packed, it's not as packed as it was say Saturday. Like Saturday, if you want to get tickets, you got to get yours in advance because they sold out like really quickly. Because there was like tens of thousands. No, actually, probably there was spectators. There was like over hundreds of thousands of people down there for that day, for that Saturday. And the Walk of Fame thing, like that's one I always look forward to seeing because like now I get a chance to like meet like certain people, whether it's voice actors, whether it's like cartoonists, or it's creators. Like some of you probably already know me from other streams I did. When I went to MomoCon, I got a chance to see who was the guy? Tom Ruger, creator of Animaniacs. I was able to kind of get like an autograph from him. I always get some of his works. And that was a lot of fun. But there was a few other folks too, at least at that particular one, that I did get a chance to really see. But I almost wish I did get to, because I know who else was there. I know Richard Horvitz, those who know from Billy and Manny Invader Zim, he was there. Steve Blum, who does Spike and Cowboy Bebop, he was there. He had a huge line. And for some of you Disney folks out there, let me see. Yeah, like Scott Wanger, he was the original voice from Aladdin, the Disney Aladdin. and Linda Larkin, who did Jasmine, she was there. And although I didn't see her, but apparently Jodie Benson, who did Air Flume, she was there too. So yeah, a lot of people they had like for that particular convention. In fact, I found out I've really enjoyed the convention now. I guess since I'm actually remembering to actually take out time to actually go see them, because a lot of times whenever I would think about going to these type of conventions, but a lot of times like I would end up finding at the very last minute, and so of course I end up not going. Just put a little like hoop-ring earring in. Let me bring these beads out just a bit more. Yeah, the way this one's going, I may not have time to do a second drawing. Yeah, because this one is turning into being a lot more time yet. But I really don't care because I'm loving how well this one's turning out. Because you know that feeling like sometimes when you're drawing, like you get into the zone, like once you get in the zone, like you just cannot stop. Yeah, just kind of lightly add some shading to these. Let me just kind of add some shadow on his hands. Let me kind of darken this a bit so it doesn't blend together. There we go. That looks much better, much better. I think what we'll do, let me just kind of like accentuate some of these folds a bit here too. Shade this tunic here. Actually, let me kind of fine tune this just a bit more. Use some of this purple here because I figured for his robe I'm gonna have be more of a tie-dye type deal. That's why I haven't done too much coloring on this just yet because I know like I'm gonna be shading something. And that's always a hard thing to do, like to shade something that has a lot of colors to begin with. It's always challenging enough to kind of shade something that the shade doesn't tend to have like one color, but to do something with a lot of colors, that's gonna be a big challenge. And that's why I haven't gotten too crazy with adding too many colors just yet. Yeah, so I'm just kind of using a little bit of purple here, some red here. And fun fact, drawing, this hippie Buddha, I honestly didn't know until a thing. Apparently, that's a name of like I think think of actual clothing line or like haircut line called Hippie Buddha. I didn't even know that was also a thing, to be honest. Yeah, no, my mistake. Yeah, apparently it's also its name for people that sell stuff for perm solution for afro dreads. So it's more something stuff for hair, really. It's amazing. The main things you'll stumble across, when doing something. I think I'll have the bottom is to be red. Let me kind of shade in his shoulders here. Yeah, so every night, yeah, here and there, I'm just adding a little. I'm using a bit of like red, some purple, and some blue as far as actually not any shadows in. Yeah, I'm glad you guys have been enjoying this so far. I know it's a little bit different what I've been doing so far, and also I'm glad to hear you guys like that I'm doing more stuff. Like with these streams, doing more stuff in different mediums. Because I was concerned, with these things were getting kind of, doing these things that were getting kind of stale. So I kind of wanted to kind of like do some other stuff, to kind of like spruce things up and make them fun for y'all. Because at the end of the day, I just want to make sure, I want to make sure that like you guys are enjoying yourselves, y'all are having a great time. And we can either like you draw along together, just kind of chill out. And I appreciate some of you new guys that came in for the stream. I really do appreciate that. Shade around the eyes. I'm just going to use kind of a lighter color to kind of blend in some of the lighter tones. I'm actually using a mixture of two pencils here. I'm actually using a mixture of whole bean pencils and Prismacolor. So I'm using a mixture of those as far as blending these together. Well, I'm at it. Let me go and actually. This little amulet here. Let me bring that back into the picture. Yeah, let's get the bottom of these shoes. Because one thing that one thing that tends to happen is like once I really start like drawing stuff I really like, yeah, then it gets to the point, what now I'm really kind of focused, okay, what else needs to be touched up? What needs to be done here? What can be touched up there? Because that's what happens when you get in that zone, like certain things, you almost can't stop. I'm still thinking about that Shrek Buddha one. That, even knowing that some Buddha statues have different animal shaped heads, just that's so absurd. That just made my day. I love that. I really do. Let me use some of this yellow again. Just kind of bring some of this back out. And some of you say I'm not really using black all that much just yet. Because I know with some artists, they'll say, that you should never use black. I agree only to a certain extent. Because I understand why people say like they shouldn't use black. Because a lot of times, what is true that when you do use black for shading with colors, it will depending on what kind you use, it can desaturate them and make colors look very muddy. That is true. That doesn't mean I don't think you should never always avoid using it, because I feel like a lot of times it can be useful for using colors already pretty dark to begin with, like purples, blues, browns, or dark greens. I feel colors that are already pretty dark to begin with. I think it works well with those. So I think the saying should be less never use black, but I think it's never rely on black. His little toes, they bring those back. And also this time around, as far as drawing these, I wanted to have kind of good preliminary sketch set up and ready to go before I started, because I figure y'all would probably, because I kind of want to get to the coloring part like right away, because I always feel coloring is like really like the fun. It's really the fun part whenever I'm doing these. Because in the sketching part, that's not important part, because that's when I'm doing a lot of brainstorming, just kind of figuring things out, decide what I want to keep, what I don't want to keep. Use that for his glasses. So now let me go and actually color in some of these folds, like blend these out. highlight some of these warmer areas I got here. Sharpen this. Add the shadows underneath these beads. I can't draw, but I'm teaching us how to use watercolor. I always want to skip the sketching part and just play with the colors. You know, that's cool you're learning how to use watercolor. Like, the thing about watercolor, it's one of those mediums that seems really easy because it's so convenient. It's easy to pick up the worker, but it's so hard to get just right. Because it's one of those mediums where, since you're working with water, it can be really hard to control. Because if you use too little water with the paint, it's not really going to do much. It's not really going to go anywhere. But if you use too much water, it can be messy. You're so all over the place. And that's true. I have seen some artists where they go straight into just playing around with the colors. Like I know I've seen a lot of tutorials done by artists where they do like a lot of like birds and flowers. And usually these are a lot based like old school like Chinese calligraphy art, where they do a lot of watercolor drawings within that vein, and a lot of times they don't do any preliminary sketch. They go straight into the paint. But the thing is, when they work with watercolor, all their strokes are usually very precise and deliberate. But that's cool you're doing watercolor, because that's something I need to start getting back to doing myself. Because the few times I use it, it's always been a lot of fun. Like, and mainly I just like watercolor because it's just so. Because even though it's hard, it can be really hard to work with time. It's so convenient because like look, since it's water based, you don't have to worry about making a huge mess. And if you do make a mess, all you gotta do is just wipe it up because it's watercolor. And of course, you have the paint, you got the little palette, you can take it wherever you need to go. I just love the medium just simply for convenience alone. And I think part of what got me into kind of using watercolor a little more is probably I'm using watercolor pencils, because since I use pencils a lot, I figure I'd give watercolor pencils a try. And honestly, I would highly recommend folks who do a lot of stuff with pencil. If you're getting into watercolor, I definitely recommend using watercolor pencils. I think they're nice as far as making that nice bridge in between, because you can make your marks just like with a regular pencil, but you can also have the option of blending things out if you want to have that extra dimension to it. Stu of Art. Hey, how you doing? Hey, nice to meet you. This is so cool. I'm getting so many new folks coming, dropping in on the stream. Also, for those of you, some of you are new guys that are just dropping in. For those of you who are just now dropping in, basically what I'm doing is I'm doing a Golden Buddha, but I decided to go a groovy hippie route with him. I was initially planning on actually kind of doing a second drawing after this. Hey, what's up? Nice to meet you too. I was going to do a second drawing alongside this one, but depending on how my time's going, I may not have time to just do that. So I'm just going to stick with this one and get this one looking as good as good as I can get it to be. Yeah, this was actually one suggest well just from my viewers. They actually suggested I do a laughing Buddha, and so I figured, let me, that's something different what I normally do. If I get, let's go ahead and actually draw it. That figured be something a little bit different. Yeah, I'm glad you like. Hey, I'm glad you like it. Yeah, I might do something like that in some of our future streams. I'm probably not going to have time to really do something like that today, but maybe in a future stream. Let me just kind of add more shadow along these beads. Let me just kind of darken it just a bit. Oh, you do art too. What type of stuff you like to draw? Let me just get these beads going here. How much time do you get for every... how much time do you think you get for every time? Do you get for every live? I'm thinking about going... Watch time do you get for every live? I'm thinking about going live. It depends. It depends. It varies. Like, I know I got got about four people watching right now. But of course, I always try to do streams for about either an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours. I know there was one time I did stream for like 3 hours. And what's crazy I hear with some people, like, actually animals people, YouTubers, game code, it's cool. But what's funny, I hear with some YouTubers when they do streams, sometimes they'll do like these 3 hour streams. I think that one artist, I think he once did a 12-hour stream, if I remember right. I think what was his name, like I think ZHC. The thing is, I couldn't imagine drawing for that straight. Even with taking breaks. That's cool. You think about going live. Going live though, I definitely would go for it. See how it plays out. Because I feel with going live, like now, with going live, like of course it's gonna get a different shape. It can be tricky because of course you gotta make sure everything's recording is working properly. You gotta make, if you make mistakes, sometimes you just gotta roll with it or find a way to fix it. Yeah, I know when it comes like drawing, like YouTubers that draw. I think personally, I love Jazza, mainly because I love he does those challenges with pencils and markers. I love him, especially since he does a lot more cartoony stuff. Super Ray Diz I really like. She does a lot of stuff with colored pencil. She does that great stuff. I'm trying to think who's another YouTuber I really do like. Alfonso Dunn. Now he normally does stuff with like ink pen. You're at 1K. Oh, nice! Congratulations. Congratulations. That's definitely a milestone that she celebrated. Nassim, I've heard of Nassim. I haven't heard. I've heard, but I had a chance to check his stuff out just yet. I know. What's another artist that I like that's really good? Black Bean S&M. He no SMS. That's her name. Black Bean SMS. And he does lots of oil pastel, which I really like because it's really rare I come across artists that do oil pastel. Which I say because even though it's a messy medium, it's a really fun. That's a really fun one too. So he's pretty cool. Another one is I think it was ADC Art Attack. I think he's a Belgian artist. He does a lot of stuff with markers and stuff. His stuff is really good. Yeah, that's true. Left hand shows peace. worry. He's peaceful. He's clean. He's friendly. He's your friendly neighbor, golden hippie Buddha. I would too. I'm glad you guys are having a great time. Alright, so he had some shading around, his legs. He had some folds down here. Sure, later on, after I'm done this stream, I'll check out some of your work. I'll definitely give you a follow. For some of you newcomers, I also pulled my Bo's got the invisible cloak on. Also, just let y'all know for some of you newcomers here, while I do post my work here, I also post on other stuff too. So I post on DeviantArt. That's where I post a lot of my work. I also post on Instagram. I've also started posting on Blue Sky as well. And Blue Sky, that's kind of a new one I'm just now starting to get into. To me, so far, at least with Blue Sky, it's kind of like Twitter, but way less drama. It's a lot less drama. It's really calm, but I like it. I really am liking how Blue Sky is. That's the thing is with certain platforms I tend to prefer more than others. Like DeviantArt, even though I know some people have issues, with DeviantArt, I do like, I have my largest font there, but also, I've always had pretty good, good experience with them. Instagram, I tend to be a little at odds with them, but they're all okay. Twitter, I do post on Twitter as well, but, I've kind of downsized my presence on Twitter. But because with Twitter's always something going on over there, so I figure I have to downsize my presence there. I used to do a lot more stuff on Tumblr. Occasionally I still do, but I've kind of downsized my presence there. And a lot of times it depends on either how much you get, which part social sites that I use. Sometimes it kind of depends on just different site, just engagement I get on a different platform, but also we are kind of juggling different social medias. It can get pretty overwhelmed, get things mixed up. So I think it's best to try to streamline things and just keep it to certain ones that you're gonna use pretty frequently. So let me get shells around here. Probably give this enough. Probably working this for another maybe 15, 20 minutes before I call it for today. So you can see I'm just blending these colors. I'm not gonna this turn out though, because this is my first time. I think probably first in a long time. I think it was one or drawing I did a while back where I had to shade something that was in tie dye. But actually, it's brought up a whole memory years ago. I think very first time I heard of tie dye. It was part of an activity I think I had to do it back in elementary school where we learned to make tie dye shirts. And of course I remember they gave us our own shirts. We made our own little designs. They gave little rubber bands. We could tie them in whatever design we wanted. We could pick the colors that we wanted to. And I think I recall when we did, after we had to tie the shirts down, I think we had to wash. I think we had to wash. I think with vinegar or something, if I recall. I remember you had to wash them in a certain way, so the colors would stay permanent, but also so they would last longer too. Which I remember I want to say it was vinegar, but I'm probably misremembering it, because it's been so long since I made like a little tie-dye shirt. But I remember like that was like the thing, especially like back in like in the day, that was like the popular thing is making like tie-dye shirts. Also, let me shade in this little bean bag, this little comfy like couch potato like bean bag chair. Give me just one moment. Check on something. Give me just a moment. Yes, sir. I did get a chance to look at some of your stuff. Yeah, that's cool. I see. I definitely see you do a lot of stuff on Naruto too, and that and that's something I really should start doing. Like when they start checking out more anime. 'Cause I think when it comes to anime, like I guess you could probably say my taste can be a little basic. Cause I've watched Dragon Ball Z. I've of course I love. I've always dug that franchise. I've seen Cowboy Up, really like Cowboy Bebop. Favorite like anime movies, Akira, I like that. And of course, the Miyazaki film like Spirited Away. But I do like some of the retro ones too, like Lupin the Third franchise. I love that. There was one really cool one. It was kind of a pulpy space fiction one, Space Cobra from the '80s. I really loved that one. That was pretty cool. But then again, tend to kind of like a lot more like the retro stuff anyway. And in fact, speaking of anime, when I attended MomoCon, even this past Dragon Con, I know some of you probably heard this before. When I actually dressed in cosplay, I ended up dressing up as Lupin the Third. I dressed up, in his green jacket getup, similar to how he wore in the Part One series, but also in his movies, Castle Cagliostro, Kira and Ghost Shell. I still need to check out Ghost in the Shell, even though from the clips I've seen and just from the praise I've heard it's actually really good. Yeah, I think as of right now, I think Akira is probably my favorite. And I actually did get around to reading the actual manga too. I swear, honestly, I think the manga's crazier than the movie. And I'm aware that the mo- the movie for Akira, it was made before the manga was even finished, because for those that don't know, the original manga, it was six kind of like full books, like 6 issues, and they're all spread out pretty much almost over a full decade. And I'm not gonna spoil too much just yet for those who haven't read just yet, but a lot of stuff goes on, because like there's a rebellion, there's a rebellion, there's a coup. I think Neo Tokyo it pretty much gets rocked to hell and back. Then it gets real caught. There's a whole bunch of like sci-fi stuff going on here. It gets really out there towards the end, but it's definitely a fun read. And also another little side trivia. Star points 3 times this year. Cool. That's cool. And also, where was I? And also a quick little trivia on Akira. Apparently, there's a fan comic version of Akira called Bart Kira. So basically, it's a fan comic where it's the whole like Akira manga, but it's redrawn with characters from The Simpsons. And what's really neat is that like I think it was over 200 different artists that worked on it. So you'll read it like from one scene, it could be really like very stylized, similar to Akira, but then there'll be one that'll be very crude. There'll be one that has a very pop art style. It's really really cool. I definitely recommend checking it out. even for those that are not fan, it's cool just to see like type of projects where like several artists got together to work on a group project, because you get a chance to kind of appreciate like other artists' style and see like how they interpret like certain scenes. Although I can imagine like with that type of project, there had to be at least one or two artists that really want to do certain scenes, like because I figured some people they really want to do that scene where Tokyo gets blown up, or they want to do that scene where the main character Tetsuo when he starts mutating. Because those are like the iconic most famous scenes from that anime, from that manga. And also like I think and also there's a limited edition that I actually reading because I read most of the black one, but I also read a colored version. Now artists like DJ, apparently when they did the cover, it was done in like a limited edition back in like the early '90s. I think this was after the movie got a cult classic over here. Yes, that's the funny thing. I honestly didn't know it was a thing until like when I got on Twitter how common it was, how so many anime, so many cartoons, even West cartoons, do that Akira slide. But at the same time, I honestly not too surprising because not just iconic games, but just visually it looks cool too. Like it's such an icon big. It's not surprised that so many people want to pay homage to it. Yeah, that isn't. Yeah, there are so many, but I think so many cartoons. I want to say even a few Marvel movies have done it too. I want to say they've done it a few times. Yeah, that's the thing. I think Akira is and what I like Akira just because I think it's a really cool movie. Like I also appreciate the struggle aspect because like with it also being one of the very first movies that I think that really made anime pretty popular over here in America. Because I think up until that point, like it, some people like it, but it was kind of more like a really small like niche thing. 'Cause I think up until Akira, like the people, at least over here in America, when we associate anime, we would think of probably maybe Speed Racer, Astro Boy, and then to an extent like the American like Japanese like like Voltron, those type of deals. But then once you had something like Akira come out that had its own sense of style and had this huge overarching story, that really kind of changed at least how people in America not only saw like anime, but also I saw animation in general. Yeah, there's still a lot of other like popular anime movies I still have yet to actually see there because I haven't seen Ghost in Shell, I haven't seen Neon Evangelion, I haven't seen that yet. But I tend to be more into retro anime. I remember the last like anime movie that I saw pretty not too long ago, a while back that was pretty cool. It was old like OVA called from the '80s called Lily Cat. And the weird thing about it is like it's basically like like an anime like version of like the movie Alien, but with a cat. And I know it sounds silly, but it's actually pretty cool. Another retro anime that I really like that's pretty cool is Go the 13. I know there's several ones out there, but there's one I think it's called Go the 13, The Assassin. I think that's the full title. And the thing is, that one it's kind of like an anime like James Bond film. That one's really cool. In fact, I think a lot of the like retro anime that I kind of got into recently, I kind of learning through this one YouTuber. I think it's called Kaiser Beat. That's his name, because he does a lot of reviews on like old school anime. Yeah, I think we're looking pretty good here. Pretty good. So now, I think what we'll start doing now, I'm gonna start blending out some more of these colors. Cause let me check on something. Yeah, cause that's the weird thing with me in anime is like it's one of those type of like it's one of those things like for some reason I never got around until recently, even though I've always known about it. Because I think like for it's like anime, I know back in the day. Of course, some of it I did see back in the day. Of course, cause see, I used to watch Cartoon Network all the time. So of course, I saw Toonami. So a lot of times I watched whatever was on. So like, of course, I would watch Dragon Ball Z. I would watch Sailor Moon. And it's probably a few others like famous probably ones too I probably saw and completely forgot about. Like y'all could probably name a few like popular animes that aired on there. Chances I probably saw it, I don't remember it. Cause that's something I used to do all the time, like time growing up when I came to watching TV. Especially, I used to watch Cartoon all the time, especially like watching it late at night. So, of course, if I watched it on Saturday, of course, I watched, I saw Toonami, I saw the new stuff they would have there. Although I've heard like Akira aired on Toonami too. The thing is, I don't remember ever seeing that on Cartoon Network. To be honest, then again, I probably just tuned in on times where they weren't playing it. Let me just add some more shadows to this little beanbag chair. He has some dark shadow. Let me just really make this guy pop against this little comfy chair he's got going. Nice and comfy chair. I think I mentioned it earlier. I know one old thing about like his Space Cobra. It's like a space like sci-fi series. And part of the reason I ended up getting into that one because Yoonji Ono, who did the theme song and music for Lupin the Third, he did music for the intro for that show as well. But then I think I'm starting to feel like, but honestly, I think Yujo is probably coming one of my favorite composers anyway because he's always got that brassy jazzy sound. Kind of use some of this olive green to kind of bring it out just a bit more. this thing. Yeah, I think this thing's gonna be almost done before we know it. Also, oh, I completely forgot all this shading. I forgot to add a shadow. Add a little bit of shadow here. I think I'll deep. I think I will darken it later on. Darken, just make it a little bit more pronounced. All right, let me see. Let me just go and blend this out. Because I realized I didn't have enough green here, so I want to make sure this has a nice, good, like natural green. All right, let me see. See what else do I have? Let me add some more shadows on his purple here. Use it there. Yeah, because I think we're going to be almost done with this pretty soon, to be honest. Yeah, right now I'm just kind of adding a lot of like finishing touches, adding little, just kind of blending things together. You know, make sure I add these little folds. Just kind of folds so that folds kind of indicate this thing's kind of buckling underneath him. I'm just gonna add a lot of the finishing touches. And cause one thing about once you realize you once you realize you're almost done, like one thing always helps, you kind of step back, look at what you got, and then decide, do you need a little more? Do you need more? Do you want to leave it as is? Or sometimes just say, is it good? Is it good enough? And sometimes you have to be willing to kind of tell yourself, it's good, it's good enough. Because one that can happen, with perfection is like, because while its perfection can be a good motivate, go as far as improving your craft and pushing you to new heights. If you're not careful, it can paralyze you too, because you get so caught making sure everything is perfect where you're either too afraid to make a mark, or you find yourself correcting to the point to where you never finish anything. Maybe I'll add a little yellow here too, just to kind of keep kind of this little some of the brightness of the scene involved. Yeah, certain colors I will come back to just kind of keep a sort of like uniform look to everything. So now I am going to break out a little bit of black here for this. And these kind of use to kind of bring back some of the sandals. Alright, let me go and color in his little amulet. Just kind of tighten some things here and there. That's the thing, like once I'm done, like some more parts up here. So I see I got folds here that I realize I hadn't gotten yet. So guys, I think we are just about done now. I might make some more touch-ups later on after the stream's over, before I decide, post on DeviantArt. But guys, I believe we are just about done here. So this is our friendly, chill, happy hippie Buddha. He's a friendly guy. He's cool to hang out with. He won't hurt you. He's one saying good vibes. Simple life and happiness. So guys, I hope you all really enjoyed, this particular stream. I had a lot of fun with this one. Really glad you guys had a great time with this one. I know I certainly did. So I'll let you guys know if I decide to do a stream again tomorrow morning on the same time. And if I do, I hope to see you guys there. So we have a good time then too. Alright, so guys, until then, have a great Saturday, have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you later.